would be honored if you would join us.
Greetings and welcome to another YouTube episode of Film Stories with me, Dan Cooper. One of the biggest stories this week, one of the headline-grabbing stories, was the triple explosion on the set of Bond 25. At the Bond stage at Pinewood Studios, there was a stunt that went slightly awry, a triple explosion that had unintended consequences. There, it blew a part of the studio lot. A crew member suffered a minor injury. Apparently, thousands of pounds worth of set were destroyed, and the filming had to shut down temporarily. And it's not the first incident that's struck that production from Danny Boyle, the director, original directors for directors. Decision to leave the production, Daniel Craig's recent injury. The film's undergoing something; it's running something of a gauntlet to make it through production. But I thought, with that in the news, it'd be interesting to look back at some of the other Bond stunts. I wrote a piece fairly recently for Film Stories print magazine. Yes, there you go. There's your weekly plug about stunts. So I thought we'd look back at some stunts from the Roger Moore era and just look at three really crazy stunts, because the Bond films have always pushed the envelope, if you'll forgive the saying. They've always tried to really stretch the limits of what stunt work can do. It's of course, it's a huge part of the franchise, the cars, the gadgets, and the action sequences, the stunt sequences. So I thought we'd just go back to the Roger Moore era and look at three really rather amazing stunts. And I suppose with the point being that, yes, there's been a kerfuffle about the fact that somebody suffered a minor injury and there's damage to a set. But you look back at these stunts historically and you don't get these iconic sequences without really stretching the limits of what's possible. Of course, that's without saying that safety should always come first, and from what I've read, the film is being investigated by the health and safety executive, and rightly so, because safety is paramount. We still live in an era where stunt workers do sometimes pay for their jobs with their lives, and that should be avoided at all costs. But at the same time, there shouldn't be a breakout into delirium, because to create these iconic moments, these cinematic stunt sequences that catch the breath and live forever, you have to really push the boundaries of what's possible. So let's look at three stunts from the Moore era, which really did that. The first one was in 1973's Live and Let Die, and this was Moore's debut appearance as 007. And the stunt in this, which hopefully we're playing in front of you right now, was the Crocodile vault. So in this stunt, it is a really crazy one where Bond needs to get across a crocodile-infested swamp really quickly. So he runs across the heads. Is head the right word for crocodile? I'm not sure. Head. We'll go with head. Runs across, kind of skips across the head of live crocodiles. And the crocodiles were sourced from a crocodile farm, no less. And believe it or not, it wasn't Roger Moore that did the stunt. Oh, I'm so sorry if that breaks your illusion. Shall I tell you now that wrestling isn't real as well? Sorry. Santa is, though, so don't worry about that. But the guy that they enlisted to do the stunt was actually the owner of the crocodile farm. So whether he spends his days skipping across crocodile heads like Mario or something, I don't know, but he agreed to do it, and he made a few takes, and hopefully I'm showing this in front of you as well right now if I can get a hold of it. But he took a few takes of it, which of course is a kind of an interesting scenario, because I suppose the crocodiles are becoming more and more aware that someone is dancing across their heads and probably becoming more irate. And it took him 4 or 5 takes to do that, and he actually misjudged it, as you can see, hopefully, a few times, and these crocodiles were beginning to anticipate his leap. So he was probably just a couple more takes away from being their lunch, until on the 5th take, he got it. And a stunt that's made even more impressive, and this is unsubstantiated internet talk, but who knows if this is true. But it made it even more impressive by the fact that Roscoe Tanger, the stuntman that did this, the owner of the crocodile farm, he'd inherited the farm from his father when his father was eaten by crocodiles. I got that from Looper, I think. So, I mean, there's the source. That's an interesting kind of legend. Your father eaten by crocodiles, but yet you're still prepared to skip across a crocodile gauntlet anyway, just to get a stunt. You have to appreciate that. The second stunt we're going to look at was from the following film, and that was The Man with the Golden Gun in 1974. It came just a year later. And if you think, some of the great Bond car sequences, GoldenEye is probably one of my favourite with the Aston Martin, and a lot of people's, I'd imagine. The world record for rolling the DB9 in Casino Royale was a great one as well. But you think about Bond car stunts, and The Man with the Golden Gun has one of the all-time greatest. So it has that 270-degree barrel roll, and I actually covered this stunt in a little bit more detail in the aforementioned print issue of Film Stories. So Bond needs to get over a river of sorts, and the only way he can do it is by ramping over. Now, ramping over is pretty easy, you would think, but not with the ramp face in front of him, because it's also kind of skew-with, that's a technical term. And so he needs to do a 270-degree barrel roll, which he does. And they actually bought the stunt, the producers bought the stunt from a stuntman in 1972, a stock car driver, Jay Milligan, and they bought this stunt from him. And they purchased the rights to it, which is why you probably haven't seen that stunt anywhere else in the movies, because the Bond producers actually own the rights to that stunt. But recreating it on set proved to be more difficult. And so, and this is the interesting thing about this stunt, is they ended up using a computer model to simulate it, I suppose. And this was the first time this had ever been done for a stunt, where it was modelled first on a computer, and then they essentially just ran the model in real life using the same car, the same weight, the same speed, the same ramp, and it worked first time. And AMC Hornets Lauren Bumps Willard nailed the stunt on his very first take. Speaking about nailing stunts on the very first take, then let's look at one more, and this is from The Spy Who Loved Me, that came in 1977. And again, a stunning stunt. So Bond is being pursued. He's on a mountainside and skis, and he skis off a crevasse or a cliffside, falls through the air, and then releases his parachute. The Union Jack spreads across the sky, and he kind of floats away to safety. I mean, it's an amazing shot, but it almost went badly wrong. The stuntman who was charged with making the stunt had done it before. Had done it lots of times before. Sylvester, his name was, and he tried this stunt before, Rick Sylvester, and got it every single time. But when they actually came to film him, he kind of, as he said himself, he started too slowly. He got a little bit tangled up, and he kind of fell really quite awkwardly. So awkwardly, in fact, that as he went off the side of a mountain, that he really wasn't doing what was scripted, I suppose, and the main camera completely missed him. But he was able to course correct in the middle of the air, launch the parachute, and land safely. That, of course, being the main thing. And luckily, a backup camera had been tracking him the whole time. So they still, despite the problem, managed to nail it on the first time. So there are 3 great stunts from the Roger Moore era, whatever they're cooking up on the Bond stage at Pinewood. And outside as well. I mean, there's talk of the Scandinavian Atlantic Road, which is just a stunning vista being used for a car chase as well. So whatever they're cooking up, both on set and out there in the world, I'm sure that when it all comes to pass, it will have all been worth it, and we'll have a pretty stunning movie to enjoy. So that was me for this week's episode, of Film Stories. All those plugs are getting to me. Do subscribe, please do follow. We're a really small outfit, and it really does help us. Do check it out. Go to our website, filmstories.co.uk. Check out the latest edition of Film Stories print magazine. It's a great one. And if you want to follow us elsewhere, you can find us on Twitter at Film Stories Pod. You can find Simon's podcasts really at your podcast provider of choice. And you can find us on Facebook too, at Film Stories Online. Well, I'm going to stop fumbling and mumbling, and I will see you next week. Have a great week. And we're back here next time for another film story. Bye-bye.